Well, we have with us Scott Dobbe. He is the executive director of Omaha by Design and architect by training, and now lending his services to making Omaha not only look better, but be better organized and structured and have a better vibe about its urban culture. And Scott, we are so excited to have you back on the show today. Welcome.
Well, it's great to be back.
Well, tell us a little bit about Omaha by Design. Give us the 30,000-foot overview.
Yeah, Omaha by Design, we're just a small team, headquartered in the Old Market, 5 of us, but we are thought of as the region's nonprofit hub for people-centered urban design and policy. It's like, we get this pleasure of getting to see how our city grows. And to us, it's really important. We really focus on the how. How we grow really matters just as much as how fast. And so our mission is to make sure that growth benefits, all the people who live, who work, and who build their lives here.
How do you weigh in and relate to working with the city?
Well, we like to work closely with all partners, and it's the city of Omaha, but it's also cities, municipalities across the region. I mean, we are a metro region, so.
Are you a department of this Omaha, the city?
Oh no, not at all.
You're
completely
independent.
Standalone, independent nonprofit.
Okay.
So Scott, on this show, we cover the entire 8-county metro area, but we spend a lot of time focusing on the urban core. Like I mentioned in the last segment, the success of the city the success of the metro area is determined by the core. So let's talk a little bit about the core. It's doing great. I mean, when you look at the amount of investment in the urban core, the activity, it's very exciting. There's so much more potential to come. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your assessment of the urban core right now, and then maybe we can get into what Omaha by Design is doing to make it even better.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Jeff. I mean, we care deeply about every corner of the metro, right? And every neighborhood needs to be great, but it's really important that the urban core is happening. It's kind of like the beating heart of the city. And if it's doing really well, the rest of the metro is going to do really well. I mean, I'll tell you, fortunately, thanks to a babysitter last night, wife and I were able to get out of the house and got downtown for dinner and friend's birthday party, and I have never seen, outside of like a special festival event or maybe College World Series, that many folks out and about. I mean, something was in the air last night. The new riverfront parks were just packed, and it's wonderful to see that kind of vibrancy happening, and it really, really matters how we move it forward. I mean, you look at growth as a whole and where we kind of punch on the listing of other metros. And I loved how you started talking about, a new ranking about how it's showing Omaha being number 1 in housing growth. Okay, that means something. I know last week on the show, you all talked about the 1 million mark, surpassing that. I mean, that's actually a big deal. It's more than just a statistic. It's like a statement that we are now one of the bigger cities in the center of the country.
In 1996, I went and visited a friend in Austin, Texas. So that was a while ago, but not forever ago. And I remember going to breakfast. He slept a little later than I did. So I got up and went to breakfast, and I was reading the local Austin newspaper, and there was a front page headline. It said, Austin area passes 1 million people. This was 1996. They're now over 2. So they've grown really, really fast. So we're kind of, in some ways, now Austin is a bigger tech center than almost anywhere else in the world. It's a state capital. The weather's a little warmer there. But to me, it feels like there's a lot of similarities between where Austin was that morning I had breakfast reading that newspaper and where it is today. And it just so happens that you and 8 of your colleagues were in Austin this week studying what's going on there.
Totally. Yeah. It is. I mean, really fortuitous as well. You hear that Austin was number 2 on that little list you read. It was fascinating just to think when we went down there with this kind of cross-sector delegation earlier this week. It was amazing to see. I'd been before. I'd done some project work in Austin about 10 years ago. City has really transformed even in that time. And then before we went, we looked at some of the metrics. Where do we stack on all kind of the census data? And it was fascinating for me and I think all of us to see that it really wasn't that long ago, maybe just over 3 decades ago, that Omaha was actually a larger metro area than Austin. And now, though we've seen great growth, Austin has seen like exponential growth. A city of 2.5 million people now, and you really feel it. Now, a lot of that is great because they got a lot of amenities, a lot of things happening. But as we went about, the reason we went down there was to learn from them. And the thing that we, heard again and again was that we wish we had planned earlier. We wish we had gotten ahead of some of the issues. And so there was a lot of good to learn from in being down there and speaking with folks and touring projects, but there was also kind of that cautionary, gosh, the transportation traffic down there is a mess. Affordable housing has become a real crisis down there. It's become very unaffordable. And they're saying, if we could tell ourselves 25 years ago what we should be doing, it's starting to proactively invest in those issues.
And that's why I think it's such a critical juncture in Omaha when it comes to planning. And I was at some charrettes and discussions about the Omaha's master plan.
Mm-hmm.
This was 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're finally putting it back together and saying, okay, we're going to do some stuff. And what do you think is key elements of that, especially in the urban core?
Yeah, funny you should mention that because right now, as you know, Trenton is ongoing a new effort to rewrite the city's comprehensive plan, which is the master plan that guides growth and development. It's the very same thing you participated in 1997. And that plan has served us well. We've grown well. We've had a lot of great things happen as a city. But obviously, the world's a little different than it was in 1997. And so we at Omaha by Design are really proud to be partnered and kind of co-leading an effort with some other wonderful nonprofits and the city of Omaha to remake that. It's called We Make Omaha. It's going to be a multi-year effort. There's already a lot of public engagement happening, committees to be formed, thoughts put together, because like you say, we need to be thoughtful about the urban core and how do we gently densify in a way that is appropriate to what we want to see as Omaha. And that's why we're talking with residents about what do y'all want to see? What's your vision? And we're resoundingly hearing some of the same themes. So I believe some of those guiding principles that have come out of this community engagement are going to be soon formalized and shared.
So, Scott, you mentioned when you were talking about lessons learned in Austin to really prepare for transportation. Well, we have a very impactful transportation project that's just getting started. The modern streetcar that will connect downtown Omaha with midtown Omaha, ready to, in a very positive way, fundamentally change Omaha. Talk to us about the importance of that project as we continue to build this urban core that can be somewhat Austin-like, but without the problems of Austin.
Exactly. Yeah, we are unabashedly, advocates of the streetcar, and long have been, because we see its potential to be a lot more than just a transportation tool. It's really a neighborhood building tool. It's really unique. It's been studied a lot, and the manner in which this is being funded and built is learning from the best of cities that have gone before us, and also being very cautious to avoid some of the pitfalls that maybe they have run into. So these systems are in place and performing really well across the nation, and I'm excited to see, because it's already driving that kind of investment, and the early results are well ahead of projections. And that's great, because it's not just developers who are benefiting from this. It's the community. It's developers who are paying for it ultimately, but the community is getting these wonderful additions in terms of, jobs and housing and opportunity and vibrancy and new business creation. It's really helping us grow up and kind of grow into our stature of a major metro.
And, when we at Grow Omaha have studied it, and believe me, we have for several years, I have been very impressed with the not only the creativity, but the fiscal responsibility of the funding mechanism. A lot of these cities that build them, they just pay for themselves with taxes.
Yep.
Or they depend on federal grants, which is a colossal headache and can take decades to get. I think kudos to the local leadership, both political, well, not both, but political, neighborhood, community development, and even the businesses in the district for coming up with a way that allows us to build this without depending on the federal government and without depending on the taxpayers.
And it's free to ride.
And it'll be free to ride.
Free to ride.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And all those things were deeply studied, and part of what put this together with, I think, a lot of great intelligence. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, me too. It's to think that we're getting within a few years of the thing actually being operational.
Well, and connecting to our earlier discussion as it related to learnings from Austin, for example, I think it's really important and often missed that the mechanism that kind of creates this and allows the streetcar to function, which is really novel and I think, again, really advantageous to us as just regular citizens of the city of Omaha, is that is based on what was called the Housing and Mobility Redevelopment Plan. And it's important that housing comes first there. So these are actually tied together in a way that when the streetcar surpasses expectations, which it is very well on track to do right now in terms of that TIF development it spins off, that the additional revenues coming to the city can actually be deployed for things like affordable housing and other mobility enhancing needs, going north and south, protected bicycle infrastructure, things of that nature. That's really novel and I think really forward thinking.
I'm glad you mentioned the affordable housing part. We got to take a break for the news here, but that doesn't get a lot of coverage because everyone's like, how are we going to pay for it? The streetcar has to come up. We have to have, in order to pay for the streetcar, we have to have a certain amount of development in about 15 years following its opening. We're already over halfway there. So it's
you see the apartments going up and down the tracks.
Yeah, it's like falling off a log. So that part we don't even have to worry about. That's a given. The exciting part is how much extra can it create? And a lot of people are not saying what you're saying. The plan is to apply that to affordable housing in the urban core long term, which will make even Omaha more vibrant. And we can have this growing city without having to build new freeways on the fringe or make more traffic for suburbanites when they're trying to go get milk at Hy-Vee. We've got Scott Dobbe with us today, Executive Director of Omaha by Design. And we're just talking about the importance of the urban core and how even people that live in the farthest fringes of the metro area benefit when we've got a strong urban core. And Scott, we were talking about the streetcar and how it will make the core so much stronger, so much more vibrant, and lead to so many more opportunities for investors, businesses, and regular Omahans who are looking for entertainment and recreation. But let's talk a little bit about what exactly some of those changes will be. When we get the streetcar up and running, how will it change central Omaha as we know it?
It's a fun thing to think about. I think it starts, and you're starting to feel it already. There's a different expectation when you come downtown for what we are. It is not a place now that we come in the old-fashioned way from 8 to 5 and then leave and depart. It's what we're growing into is like an 18-hour, vibrant, really active core where we have a lot of rooftops, a lot of folks living. It's a place where tourists are really drawn to and could find, as we were talking offline, like a whole vacation downtown. We can conceivably see that now. We like to, as we travel, kind of share. I mean, we're always Omaha boosters about how great it is to get down here. We love even just a little staycation downtown. There is a lot happening in the urban core.
I think when the streetcar gets up and running, if you live anywhere near the streetcar, you could have a siesta. You could go to work early and then go home for lunch, take a little bit of a snoozer, refresh, and then, work late.
Trenton, I only take my siestas on Saturday and Sunday, but that said, I love them and I appreciate where you're going with it.
Yes.
Scott, the other thing that comes to mind with streetcars is something that is really the scourge of the central core of the city, and that is the surface parking lot. A lot of times people who just come down to downtown for dinner or bars, they think, oh gosh, it's great to have a lot of surface parking lots, and we don't want to get rid of those. Actually, they kind of ruin a downtown because they're so inefficient, and that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to at the streetcar. We can actually increase the number of parking stalls available while at the same time getting rid of surface parking lots that provide really no value whatsoever.
No kidding. Nobody likes looking for parking. And most of the time, those sit empty. Most of the time, those are not needed. And instead, we can replace them. Remember that they don't contribute much to the city in a lot of ways. Environmentally, they're really bad, but fiscally, they don't help us much. We'll need parking lots where we need parking lots, sure. And a lot of folks are still going to continue to drive. But as we see that behavior starting to shift, because look, there's this great free vehicle I can hop on, I can maybe park once and ride, or I can live downtown and ride. As that transforms into now something that is filled with ground floor retail, and there's shops and restaurants, and there's new businesses created there. Maybe there's housing, maybe there's offices above. Suddenly you have something which actually has much greater value than a bunch of asphalt, and it is then paying back in terms of taxes that'll benefit our schools and our parks and our city services that we need.
And so what you guys are alluding to is, say, places like Midtown Crossing, which the city will own those parking garages, and you could park at Midtown Crossing and then just jump on the streetcar and then go to the show, go to dinner, not have to worry about the guy or gal flagging you in for $20 or whatever, more affordable parking, free streetcar ride down to the Orpheum.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott, one of the things I also want to, and we only have a couple minutes left, but sometimes there's a lot of misperceptions about the streetcar. A lot of people haven't studied it very carefully, and some of that is driven by, what's going on politically right now. And that's normal. Politics is politics. People always use things for political reasons. But one of the questions we get at Grow Omaha is from someone maybe who lives in the city limits but is way out west. And they say, well, why do I care about this? It's not going to benefit me. I actually disagree with that, and I suspect you do too. How would you answer to that question when someone says, I don't live anywhere near downtown, but how is it going to benefit me?
Yeah, I think it's a reminder that we have a lot of options here in America and in this city where we want to live, how we want to do it. But we all work in it together. And so we're all investing. I mean, when we built the West Dodge Expressway, for instance, that was hundreds of millions of dollars of investment to help unlock things. Not everybody in the city uses that every day, but it was a wise investment, something we needed to do. In a similar way, this is going to unlock a lot of development. And for those who then are going to utilize it downtown, and I think by and large, you'll feel it. It's going to bring jobs to the core. It's going to bring vibrancy to the whole town. And when that happens, it really lifts us all. And that's why, we stay out of the politics of it, but I think you can admit that, big cities do big things. And we're in this moment where we've got an invitation, an opportunity to think bigger about how we approach housing and mobility and how we kind of support our growing population.
Well, it's exciting to think about, Scott, and we appreciate everything you and your colleagues are doing to keep the metro area strong and certainly the core of Omaha. And in the future, we'll definitely talk again.
Appreciate you guys. I look forward to it.
Omaha by design, ladies and gentlemen.
Scott Dobbe, Executive Director.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.